Hello students, we are going to discuss today a very interesting topic, determiners, and determiners are put in exams in integrated grammar where fill-ups in the gaps, and you'll probably get four options for each question statement of fill-ups, and you need to choose one out of those four and fill one using accurate determiner from the options given. So here is the topic, determiners. Let's see what is this topic all about. Determiners. First of all, what is a determiner? Its definition goes like a determiner is a word that introduces a noun. It always comes before a noun, not after a noun, and it also comes before any other adjectives. So, as per its definition, as the word also suggests that determiner is a word that determines a noun. It introduces a noun, the state of noun, and it always comes before a noun and never after a noun. And it's sometimes also used before any other adjectives, but we are mainly concerned with the determiners coming before a noun here. So let's move to next slides to see what are the types of determiners, and this graphical presentations show well us of the types of determiners, as determiners of four types. First one is articles, a and the. Second one's demonstrative, this, that, these, those. And possessive determiners, my, your, his, her, their, our. And quantifiers. Quantifiers are also called indefinite nouns. Some, any, much, many, few, a few, little, a little. So these all are the types of determiners. Chiefly they are of four types, and we'll study each of them. And article constitutes a major part of determiners, and it will be the main focus of our study. So let's move to the first type of determiners, that is article. Articles are of two types, one definite article and the second one indefinite article. Definite article is only the, and indefinite article is a, and. Fine. So let's move to definite article. Definite article, the. Before we move to the uses of definite article and its rule, let's first talk of its pronunciation. There are two pronunciations of definite article, the. Strong form is the and weak form is the. Both the pronunciations are correct but have certain set of rules, which one we use in which conditions. Strong form, the, is used when this definite article is placed before a word having a vowel sound, beginning vowel sound. For example, American. American word begins with a vowel sound. So when we place the definite article the before it, then we need to pronounce it as the American. The American, because American is beginning with the vowel sound, and before the words beginning with vowel sounds we need use its strong pronunciation, as which is the. And similarly the Indian, the American, but we must say the Japanese, the Britishers, because Japanese is not beginning with a vowel sound, and Britishers too not beginning with a vowel sound. It's beginning with a consonant sound, and before a consonant sound, the pronunciation of the word definite, this definite article will be weak, and weak pronunciation, the, will be used before the words used beginning with the consonant sounds. Fine. Let's now move to the uses of the definite articles. First one is with unique things. The unique things of nature, we must use definite article. For example, the sun, the moon, the earth, the sky. Fine. Whichever are the unique creations of the nature, we must use definite article before them. So second uses or its second rule, with particular or specific person or a thing, we use definite article when some common noun, common name of a person or a thing is used in a specific or particular sense. For example, he's the boy who topped last year. Here we have the common noun boy, and we are using the definite article the before it. Why? Because the phrase after the boy is making the boy specific rather than common. We are talking about the boy. Which boy? Who topped last year. Who topped last year phrase would make it a specific or particular rather than common. If this phrase would be cut off, then we must say he is a boy. He is a boy. But when we have added a phrase, some clause behind, which gives this boy some particular identity, some specific identity, then we must use the definite article the before the common name boy. Similarly, the beggar in the corner. The beggar in the corner is a policeman in disguise. The beggar, which beggar? Who is standing in the corner. So, this prepositional phrase again giving some particular or specific identity to beggar. So, we must use here the before it. And if we cut off the prepositional phrase or additional information which gives a particular identity to a common noun, we must treat it as common noun, and before singular common noun we would use a or an rather than the. Fine. So this was an important rule, the second one, that with particular a specific person or a thing we use the. The third rule goes like, with singular countable noun on a repeated mention. Here specially added or special focus is given to a repeated mention. We commonly use a or an before a countable and singular common noun, but when the same common noun is mentioned again in the same context, then the common noun or common name becomes specific or particular. Reason being that the same common name or common noun is being mentioned in the same context for the second time. So he would get now specific treatment, some particular treatment, not a common treatment. For example, we have an example, there is a boy. The boy is demanding money. The here the word boy is a common noun and singular, and we have introduced it using the other article, indefinite article a. But when the context continues, the second sentence is introduced, the same boy is mentioned again in the second sentence because he's being mentioned for the second time. So now he has got his specific treatment, specific identity, because in the previous sentence he has already been introduced, and he has already been introduced, then he must get now specific treatment, some particular treatment. Means he's a person who is already known to us. That's why in the repeated mention of a common noun we use definite article with that. Fine. In the next rule goes with an adjective to treat an adjective as a class. This is again an important rule. We usually use the words like rich, poor, wealthy, downtrodden. Such adjectives we use just to qualify or tell the quality of a particular noun, but sometimes these adjectives are used to represent a full class of those person, of those kinds of person. And if we want to use that particular adjective to represent a full class of that particular kind of persons, then we use a definite article before that adjectives, which would mean that we are here referring to the full class of that particular kind of person, rather than uh, using that qualitative word to give quality of a particular noun. Fine. In our example, we have written the rich should pour the help. The rich should help the poor. Means all the rich people should help all the poor people. Fine. So this is again an important rule concerning with this definite article. Next one is quite an easy one with all superlative degrees. As right from our childhood, we are reading that with the superlative degrees, we use the, for example, the best, the longest, the tallest, the smallest, the richest, the poorest. With those all degrees, which are superlative degrees, or in other words, we should say which end with est, we use definite article before them. Next one is a noun having special emphasis. This is again a tricky rule. You must find out the trick involved behind this rule. What is the trick? See, he is the hero of the day. It is the rule of an article. It is quite easy to identify the use of this kind of sentences. Means the use of definite article in these kinds of sentences. Here you will find obviously a common noun, and after a common noun preposition of would be placed, and something else will follow after the verb of. And when you find a preposition after a common noun, and then it is quite common to place the definite article before that common noun. For example, hero is the first common noun in the first sentence, and after hero we have preposition of, and some additional information follows after the verb preposition of. So once we have got of after a common noun, and it is quite tricky to use a definite article before that common noun. It's quite common. Just make use of the common sense to use definite article before that particular common noun, because when we have uh, added some information using a preposition of after any common noun, then that common noun would get treatment of a specific or particular noun, not of that common noun. So this is how we must use in most of the cases definite article the before a common noun when the preposition of follows or comes after that particular noun, common noun. Next is quite an easy one. With all names of directions, we must use the definite article the, like the north, the south, the east, the west. And the last one is with the names of rivers, mountains, holy books, names of few countries, names of newspapers. So it's part of simply a cramming that with the names of some big rivers, we use definite article the, like the Ganga, Kaveri, the Brahmaputra, and the Nile. And in the same way, the Himalayas mountains or mountain range of mountains, the Himalayas, the Aravali, the Rockies, and then the holy books like the Bible, the Quran, the Gita, the Ramayana. So, and in the with the names of few countries, you must pay special focus to this rule that with the names of countries, because the names of countries fall in the rules that any name of country is a proper noun, and with proper noun we don't use any article, but there are certain names of countries which begins with alphabet U, which further uh, stands for united, and with all the countries beginning with U which stand for united, we use definite article the because they are treated as group of some states. So with the USA, the UK, we use definite article the. And there are certain names of some newspapers which usually have the definite article the in the in the names, like the Tribune, the Hindustan Times, the Times of India, etc. So these are the uses of definite article the. It is important for you all to learn as well as practice these rules, because practice will help you learning these rules. Fine. So now let's move to indefinite articles a and n, and comparatively there are simpler uses of these indefinite articles. So it's well known to be told in the beginning that with singular countable noun, when that noun is not specific or particular, we use a or an, and whenever that singular countable noun begins with a consonant sound, we use a, and when the singular countable noun begins with a vowel sound, we use an. For example, a pen, a car, a phone, a football, these all begins with consonant sounds, so we must add indefinite article before them. And the singular countable nouns beginning with vowel sounds are like an hour, an MLA, an apple, an ambulance. So these are the examples of singular countable nouns that begins with some vowel sound and must come after an indefinite articles. So second one is when a common singular noun is mentioned for the first time in a reference. Students, this is the same rule as was taught in the definite articles also. In the definite article, the rule was like when a singular countable noun gets a repeated mention in the same reference. So here The other side of the same rule is when a common singular noun is mentioned for the first time in a reference. See, I saw a boy. Boy is coming in the same reference for the first time. So we have used here an indefinite article with the boy. And when the boy is coming in the same reference for the second time on a repeated mention, we use definite article. The boy was crying. I saw a boy. For the first time the boy is coming, we are using a, and for the second time we've used here the boy was crying. Next one is with proper noun to make it common. It is a rule sometimes used. For example, he is a Shakespeare. Sometimes teacher says in a class to some student, he is a Shakespeare. Means he has a great literary talent like that of Shakespeare. So sometimes with proper noun, indefinite article is used when that proper noun is being entitled to someone else. Next one is with proper noun to give a sense that speaker is unknown to somebody. Here is a typo. It's not to know but noun. With proper noun to give a sense the speaker is unknown to somebody. For example, a Mr. Gupta is calling you means the speaker of the sentence doesn't know Mr. Gupta before. It's for the first time that he's facing Mr. Gupta and is totally a stranger to the speaker. So he is used here a Mr. Gupta is calling you means a before a proper noun. In general sense, to represent the whole class, a cow is a useful animal. A child cries when he is hungry. Means here we have used a before a common noun. It gives the sense that all the cows, all the children, or rather than giving the sense of a particular cow or a particular child, means in general sense with a common noun indefinite article is used when with the uses a whole class is being represented. Means a cow is useful animal means all the cows are useful. A child cries when he is hungry means all children cry when they are hungry. This kinds of sense is being denoted in these two sentences. Cow and child stand for the whole class of their kind. In certain phrases like make noise, make mistake, make an effort, as a rule, on an average. So these are certain and fixed phrases. We don't make any change with these phrases and use them as it is, having indefinite article in them. In exclamatory sentences like what a wonderful flower, what a nice guy is he, means in such exclamatory sentences indefinite article is used. You might have heard these kinds of sentences from your teachers or in society. Next, last one, with most when it is used in the sense of very or very much. This is a most painful story. Students, as per rule, most is a superlative degree and it must be followed by a definite article. But here, this superlative degree is giving the sense of very or very much. So that's why we'll use here an indefinite article. So these were all the rules for an indefinite article. Likewise, the definite, you must practice these rules and learn as well. Equally important is the omission of an article, means zero article. Sometimes we find that students make mistakes making use of article where it is not necessary. It is equally important to omit an article where it is not required. So there are certain rules which will tell us that we are not to use any article, means zero article, no article. We have not to use any article, and if we make use of article, it is again a grammatical error. So first rule is with proper nouns, proper names of place, person or things. We never use any article like Delhi, India, Rohit, Haryana, Sirsa, any names of person, place or thing. Proper names. Names are always of two kinds, like proper as well as common. For example, if we say someone he is Rohit, Rohit is particular a proper name of that person, that boy. And if we say he is a boy, boy is also a name, but boy is a common name that can be used for any boy. But Rohit is a particular name or proper name of a particular boy. So this is difference between common and proper noun. So with all the proper nouns we use zero article. Zero article means no article, neither definite nor indefinite, neither an nor the. Okay, with this abstract noun we don't use any article. For example, happiness, honesty, wisdom, these all are the examples of abstract nouns, and with all the abstract nouns we don't use any article. Next one is with material noun. Material noun like oil, gold, silver, marble, water. With these all kinds of materials which are further used to make some other usable objects, we don't use any article for them. Next rule is quite an important rule, and in many of the exams, this rule, the question based on this rule appears. Case of buildings. Buildings mainly have some primary functions, some primary purpose, and the same buildings can be used for some secondary or for some other purpose. For example, let's take an example. School is meant for students and teachers. Students go there to learn and teachers go there to teach. And if we say student is going to school, students are going to school for the same purpose for what that school exists. So will not use here any article here. Means this rule says with the names common names of the buildings we use zero article if the sentence gives the sense that the persons are using that particular buildings for what they primarily exist. We don't make use of any article. And if someone is visiting, someone is making use of those buildings for some other purpose which is not the primary functions, primary purpose of those buildings, then we use definite article before them. It is quite important to explain this rule with an example. As I start an example, like students are going to school. School is having here zero article, means no article. But if we say that electrician is going to the school, school is not meant for electricians. Electrician is going for some other purpose rather than the purpose of learning or teaching. So visiting a school by an electrician will ask us to make the use of definite article before the name of the building. So visiting of an electrician will force us or ask us to make use of the before school. Similarly, we can take an example of a hospital. For example, uh, I was sick, so I visited hospital. I was sick and I visited hospital. Hospital is meant for sick persons and doctors treat sick persons. So we haven't used here the with hospital. And we say I went to the hospital to see my sick uncle. मैं हॉस्पिटल में गया अपने अंकल को मिलने के लिए बिकॉज ही वॉज सिक. सो this is how this rule will be used with some particular buildings names, and you must. Next is in certain prepositional phrases. Some certain prepositional phrases are as such like at home, at school, in fact, by hand, by road, for love, etc. These prepositional phrases are always used like this, and no article is used in between them. In certain verbal phrases also, to catch fire, to lose heart, to leave school, to set food, etc. So these are certain verbal phrases. Likewise, the prepositional phrases, they too do not carry any article with them. So last one is when there is any other determiner already before a singular countable noun. Sometimes some possessive noun, possessive determiners, quantifiers, or demonstrative determiners are already used before a noun. So no determiner is used in that case if already another determiner is given before a noun. So these are all the major part of determiners, that was about articles. So next is demonstrative determiners. It's quite an easy and very short part. It's simply to repeat the things that have already been learnt in junior classes. Like this is used for things, for a thing which is close to the speaker, and that is used for a thing which is far from speaker. And these is used for the things, means it's used with plural. It is used with the things which are close to the speaker, and those is used with the things which are far from the speaker. Means for far away things we use those, and for a far away thing we use that. This and these are used for the close thing and things with singular, like this is a pen, that is a pen. These are pens close to the speaker, those are pens far away from the speaker. Fine. This demonstrative determiners need not much explanations. It's quite an easy one. It's well explained and well known to students already in their junior classes. So let's move to possessive determiners. It's also comparatively a smaller type of determiners. Its definition goes like, its definition itself define it, means possessives. Possessive means that show some possessions or belongingness to someone. And these possessive determiners are my, our, your, his, her, their, its. And their examples are This is my stick. Its color is black. Let me see a notebook. She got a purse on the table. She has his bag with him. Our country is beautiful. The parents are very kind. So these are the possessive determiners with not need much explanations. If the stick is mine, we'll use possessive determiner my with it. If it is belongs to someone else like his, then we'll use his or her or our. Likewise, we have taken up an example for each of possessive determiners. Let's move to quantifiers and numerals. This part will once again require some of your attention, a bit of more attention, like an article. So, quantifiers are also called indefinite pronouns, and these are some, any, much, many, few, a few, little, a little. Fine, these are the quantifiers. And let's move first to some and any. Some is used in affirmative sentences or also called positive sentences. I have some money. I've invited some of my friends. Fine. Some unspecified amount or unspecified number. So some is used in affirmative or positive sentences and gives the sense of something being unspecified. I have some money means I have money, but how much money I do have is unspecified or unclear. I have invited some of my friends. I have invited my friends, but how many? It's unspecified or uncertain. Any is used mainly in negative and interrogative sentences. There isn't any milk or sugar in this house. I don't have any money in this moment. Is there any milk in the jug? Much and many. Many shows number and is used in interrogative and negative sentences and with expressions such as so many, too many, how many, etc. Means many has chiefly two uses. One, it is used to show number and used in interrogative and negative sentences, and secondly, it is used with some expressions like so many, too many, how many, etc. And further, it is told that if beyond interrogative and negative sentences you happen to make use of something similar to many, you'll use a lot of, plenty of, a great number of, rather making use of many. Many is chiefly used in interrogative and negative sentences. In positive sentences, it's far better to make use of a lot of and plenty, a great number of, with the similar sense, rather making use of many. For example, have you read many books? Yes, I've read a lot of books. In a positive sentence, we have used here a lot of in place of many. In negative, no, I have not read many books, because the last sentence is again happened to be negative. We have used here many. Much. Much shows quantity and follows the same rules as many. Many is used with, we can say, countable things, and much is used with uncountable thing, which shows some quantity rather than number. For example, does your cow give much milk? Yes, she gives a lot of milk. or no, she doesn't give milk. Fine. Again, in negative sentence, it's better to avoid use of much and many and use phrases like a lot of, plenty of, a great number of. So these were some and any, much and many. Let's move to the next slide and learn something interesting about few and a few, little and a little. Few and a few, these are used with countable nouns, and little and a little are used with uncountable nouns. But both few and little have some negative connotation in the sentence, means they give some negative sense, and a few and a little both give some positive sense of the sentence. For example, there are few students in the class, means there are very less students in the class to be considered. Like if we want to say the same in our language, then we'll say like क्लास के अंदर नाम मात्र बच्चे हैं, मीन्स दिस इज गिविंग सम नेगेटिव connotations, नेगेटिव सेंस. फाइन. एंड लाइकवाइज देयर इज लिटिल मिल्क इन द पॉट. इस बर्तन में नाम मात्र दूध है, मीन्स दिस इज अगेन गिविंग द नेगेटिव sense, but little is being used for uncountable noun and few is used for countable nouns. And a few and a little, these are used and give some sense that there is something enough, however below expectations, but something which is enough, and give some positive sense. There are a few students in the class. क्लास में कुछ कम बच्चे हैं, क्लास में कम बच्चे हैं. एंड देयर इज लिटिल मिल्क इन द पॉट, ग्लास में काफ़ी कम दूध है. मीन्स हियर the sense of a sentence doesn't become negative, it remains positive, however the meaning conveyed still give us an idea that something is below expectation, something below expectations. And finally, numerals are sometimes counted among determiners and sometimes not. Numerals are of two types: cardinal numbers, ordinal numbers. For example, cardinal numbers are 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and so on, and ordinal numbers are the ranks like first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on. So these were all determiners. I would wish you all to hit like the video if you like this lesson, and I would advise you all to practice learning determiners, because practice makes man perfect. Thank you.